let's talk about time. So I'm not going to go, full philosopher mode on you and try to dissect what the meaning of time is. That's for a that's for an old person with ultimate wisdom. Go to them. Maybe they'll give you an answer. But I don't have an answer about you know how to grasp time or the metaphysical concept of time or whatever. But I do feel some sort of obligation to view time in such a way that I'm not claiming it as my own. There is this tendency for us to say, I don't have the time, which is pretty false in my opinion. Time is not for us to have, it's not for us to manipulate, it's not for us to conquer. Time is just time. It's unapologetic, it's has no obligations, has no debt to anyone. It just goes. It's time. So what do I mean by that? When we say that we don't have the time, it's not us saying that we have no time to do something. We're just saying that we don't have the motivation as of the moment to prioritize something enough for us to incorporate it into our schedules or planners or whatever. So that was just a brief example, but what is my main topic for this recording? Basically, what I'm saying is we have to treat time with the deepest respect that it will always present itself only in the present. Sure, the past happened, but it's not the present anymore. Sure, there's going to be a future, but you don't know that. You don't even know what's going to happen in the future. So, if you think about it, the only certain thing with time is what happens as of the moment. It's the only it's the truth, right? What happens right now is what happens. The past, sure, those are past truths, but the future, they're not future truths. As far as you know, they're just speculations. As far as you know, they're just predictions. So ground yourself. Ground yourself with the reverence that it is your duty to deal with time as time goes. Now, this is just an overview because a lot of what I talk about in this channel centers on two main topics basically. I might change this in future entries, but for now, it's basically two main concepts. It's time, it's time and perspective. So time, as tempting as it is for us to claim that it's ours, it's not ours per se. We are all experiencing time at the same time, right? Time is not slow for you, and time is not fast for me. You might perceive it as slow, and I might perceive it as fast. You see how perception changes a lot of things? Like I said in the earlier videos, I think it was the second one. This is just one physical world, a physical world that is going through time, but the perspectives are infinite. So why am I so um uh concerned or maybe passionate about talking about time? Because like I said at the start of this video, it's a very broad concept, and the more you think about it and the more you ponder upon it, the more intimidating it gets because it's so hard to pinpoint what time actually is for us what time means, but I think that's not for us to figure out, but for us to experience. Because that's the only thing we can do. The only thing we can do is let the seconds pass by, let the minutes pass by, let the days, weeks pass by. That's the only thing we can do. And the best thing that we can do while time is happening is to do things within that time in accordance to what we think matters to us, in accordance to what we think is going to give us the most fruitful experience until the time that we leave this world inevitably. So yes, it's easy to put yourself into an existential crisis when you think about time, but isn't it kind of a privilege to experience time? I like to think about it in such a way that what if nothing? What if nothing was an entity, um, and nothing was peering through behind a glass pane, just looking at us? Wouldn't nothing be kind of jealous of our ability to experience something? And I'll talk that about more about that in the future because that's basically one of um, the foundations of my principles, which is I am not nothing. Because we are not nothing, we are something. And the fact that we are something is backed up by the fact that we are experiencing time. It sounds so abstract, and I feel kind of silly talking about it, but there is no other way to fully encapsulate it other than us trying to encapsulate it into words. And I'm one of those people that is trying to um, ponder upon what time means to us. And I think you could do that too. Anyone could do it, actually. Absolutely anyone. Time is for us to perceive. It's not for us to own. It's just for us to perceive and how we want to spend it. So if we are fully aware of the fact that we can't change what already happened, we have no control of what is going to happen, but we only have control of what is happening right now, it's a game changer. Because there's no need for us to worry about speculations of the future. And there's no need for us to worry about what already happened because they're not happening as of the moment. And yes, sure, you've heard of all these things before, but you'd admit more often than not. Maybe you were bothered by something that happened in the past, or you're anxious of something in the future, right? There's no need for us to uh, be in despair of what already happened or anxious of what's about to happen because all we know is right now. So it's our obligation to be unshakable, or it's, if you want to get philosophical about it, it's our privilege. It's our privilege that we can be unshakable in the first place. It's getting deep, I know, but I'm hopefully going to talk about them in future recordings. But I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. Life is a lot. There's a lot of discussions, so lots of debates, lots of um, art, lots of just there's so much being depicted about life and how it can be encapsulated into something discrete so that we may be able to understand it in its entirety, so that we are lifted from the burden of this uncertainty. But maybe that's not for us to answer. Maybe our job here is to just experience time unapologetically. Maybe our job here is to just perceive time in a way that it will give us the most fruitful experience by the time that we breathe our last breath. So there's a kind of a heavy video and kind of abstract one, but um, and I'm trying to lay down the foundation so that the future entries do make kind of sense. I'll talk to you in the next one.